Hold on, I wasn't the first guinea pig. I'm just one of several, apparently. Oh God, never mind. How could you, Chris? How could you? I trusted you. Well, it depends on what you have them set as. Like in mine, let me see if I go to my settings. Work. Why are you always telling me it needs to run normally or run safe? You stupid program. All right. Let's see here. Settings. That's not it. Or damn it. Output. There it is. Ah, here we go. It's in the output recording tab. This is where I do, and I have it set to like the recording. Let's see here. Recording format I use is just MP4. No, that's not. It's the quality of it. Damn it. So what? Let's have it set.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first live Feng Shui Engine Podcast, episode 5, with my guest, my co host, my friend, Mr. PHDJeshua. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well, Mr. Chris. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm just going to turn it over to you, let you give you a rundown of your history in the FGC, and we'll go from there.
Now you're wanting me to reach back all the way to high school. Damn. Uh, Basically, where I got started, I guess we'll say with fighting games. I was one of the lucky kids, I guess. There were arcades back in the day for me to play around here, like in Georgia. They're not around much anymore. Hell, I can remember when Stevie B's, it's still around to this day, had Fatal Fury and loved the hell out of playing it back then. But oh god, back in the day, my favorite arcade game was Soul Calibur. God, it was so fun playing this Keelik back in the day. But as far as like getting really into the like FGC, that really didn't really start to like let's see, right around the release of Street Fighter 4. That's when I started discovering like what Evo was, taking an interest in just playing and getting better at the games, which is very lackluster to me. But since I'm older now, it's not as difficult to learn. Being stubborn as young as I was back then, but oh man, I remember going to my first final round being so like uh starstruck meeting Tycho and everything. being silly. It's like meeting Chipper Jones, basically. Though I never got to meet Chipper Jones. Oh well, that's baseball. If anybody remembers that. Oh man. Uh, but I mean, over the years, I've just more locally, I've gotten involved helping Mr. Kirk, our head TO, running events. I've, oh God, it's been like what, 5 to 8 years now? I think it's 6 years now. That's how I really met everybody, though, it's through just our local scene and just a general love of fighting games over the years. Hell, when I was working at GameStop when was it 2011 when Ultimate World versus Capcom 3 dropped, I was playing with people as we were doing a midnight release for it. I was beating a lot of people. Then someone ran across with freaking Albert Wesker, started mopping the floor with me. I was like, okay, I was not as prepared as I was for that one. But man, just the early days, yeah, hopping on Street Fighter 4, just learning right then and there. So I guess you can call me one of the original 08ers, 09ers, I guess. I guess I would be an 09er, but technically the game released in 08 February, if I remember. April. Damn. It's hard to remember.
I'm about to say because I remember up at the Macon Mall, there used to be an arcade there.
I remember that timeout.
Yeah, and I remember every time I would go to the mall, that's exactly why I would go to the arcade. Because I forgot what they had. Because I know they had Tekken in there, but I can't remember which one it was. It might have been Tekken. It either might have been Tekken Tag or Tekken 5.
Probably Tekken 5.
Yeah, because I had no idea what I would do. I just mashing buttons. But 'cause I'm trying to remember. Because no, I did. I'm not sure when Reboot opened. I believe it was what about
It was about
2015.
Yeah, it was about 2015 because that's when I another little aspect of just me running events. I used to help my friends run their convention. I was a director for 4 out of the 5 years because one year I just didn't do it. But I got put in charge of like the gaming room and all that, so I went and set it up with every console and fighting game I could put down. And there from Injustice to Guilty Gear, Exerd. Let's see. And that's when I met Jeremy, the owner of Reboot at the time. He brought in several arcade cabinets and a couple of pinball machines, and just just watching everybody have a blast in there was just fun to see.
Yeah, now Reboot has become like a home away from home.
Pretty much. I got to take my roommate up there to go let him play some pinball in there. I might do that tomorrow.
But we can go ahead and get into a couple of things because it's been a lot of interesting stuff going on in FGC lately, especially when it comes to around about finances and tournaments going up and their prices. I don't know if you have been keeping track of it.
We're talking about the Evo prices going up.
Well,
Read a little bit about it, not
that
much.
and then local prices where the TOs want to go to about $15 for like local events.
Oh, that one. That has varied with us. Just speaking for our scene, we've kept it at $10. We've been very fortunate because we work with Jeremy and all that, and plus, since it being a bar, we're over 21. Most of us are buying drinks and everything, so we're supporting the place in different ways too. So
Yeah. I know. What do you think of the whole situation with some people like, well, no, you don't need to increase the price. Keep it where it says $5. Been that way forever.
it really depends on where you're at. I'm going to be completely honest because like different being to different venues that I have been to and read about different venues. It's funny because in one area here in Georgia, I think it's a I think a couple of counties over at Zone Breakers. They have their events at an IHOP of all places, and I think it's about a $10 or $15 fee. And it's just funny it being at an IHOP. But you can order food there too, so I mean it works out for them. They have a pretty steady crowd going there. Another place was Gwinnett Brawl. Gwinnett Brawl before they closed down.
Yep.
That was held at a card shop.
Mm-hmm.
There's a steady flow, and you would have hobbies intermingle. So nothing too crazy. Of it, it was about $10, $15 varying back then. Even it's been a minute. I'd have to go
Yeah.
really look
I
up some
cause
of
I,
those tournament entry fees.
cause I went to the final Gwinnett Brawl. That was my first tournament, and I cannot even remember how much I paid to go play Street Fighter, like for the first time in an actual tournament setting. But I think it was. I'm gonna say it was $10, $5 per game, if I
Yeah, just
remember
about.
correct. But me, this being my first time going to a tournament, I actually got a hotel room and just stayed the night because I just like I
Right.
just don't feel like driving all the way back.
That is very understandable.
But I get some people saying basically the prices are going to have to go up if we're trying to basically get to the point where we can financially support ourselves. Like it's been $5 for like forever, and
Now, some
turn
places I think standard was 10.
yeah. I think well, tournament fees haven't really gone up, but everything else around us has gone up. And I'm like, if you're because I know I've seen like Mr. Kurt and everybody, they're trying to get consoles, they're trying to get better monitors and stuff like that. And it's understandable, like, okay, well, we're gonna have to go up on prices because we gotta be able to afford this kind of stuff.
Pretty much. In some areas it's very sustainable. I mean, if we go out westward, God Lord, what was it Level Up series?
Mm-hmm.
They've been around forever. I think most of their standard, I mean, even out there with the cost of living being higher, it's like $10, 15. And I mean, some areas it should go up, some may not. It just really depends on where you're at. I mean, if you can afford for it to go up, do so. Just just because. But I don't want to see people out of a tournament too.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, if you're just going to go there on the casual lines, just go on the casual lines. That way, you're saving some money. That's if I mean, if your area has that, but each year it seems like one place is closing after another, or a tournament's closing.
Mhm. And play devil's advocate a little bit. I know some TOs are looking around and saying, so you can afford to pay 80 to $100 to go to CEO plus $10 per game, but $15 is a little too much for you.
That's a one-off thing. Some people, others, it's really weird because in the mindset that we have, for most people, if it's something goes past $100, we start really thinking of it as a luxury item. So it's kind of like, how do I manage this? But I mean, good lord, if you want to go to your locals and save some money, just quit eating out and start making like buy PB and J, make sandwiches for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah. 'Cause I know what you
It's
mean.
not hard.
Yeah, because basically saying like, if you really want to go, you'll make the sacrifices to be able to afford it.
I mean, there was a couple of people there like I was reading a couple of stories. Some people they're like they were almost like flat broke, barely. I mean, they were struggling to stay alive almost, and I mean they were near being homeless. They still went to their locals and everything. I mean, when the times get tough, people do what they need to do. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but
all up to the person.
with something like that, I think you kind of have to prioritize some things.
Yeah, oh, definitely. If you're definitely if you're at that level, you need to prioritize your life. Definitely, you need to have your priorities straight. But I mean, most people within the FGC, for the most part, I like to believe have their priorities straight. I'd
Yeah.
like to believe that, but I feel the case has always been. the latter. Considering what you and I've read over the years, we've seen people come and go,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, God bless this man. I wish he was still around, but he was a oh, I hate that I'm forgetting his name, but he was the big Marvel 3 guy. Right now, I'm sorry, I can't think of the guy, but I mean, he that man was the curly mustache of our area. I swear, man lived and breathed Marvel 3. Sadly, he was taken away by a not a heart attack, but like something along those lines. Just, just died in his sleep. I
Mm-hmm.
think I was 28 at the time, and it's just I remember going to that funeral, man, and it's just flabbergasted such such a thing happening. We even had another guy pass away some years back. He was a hefty guy, but I don't know how he passed away. But it's sad to see when you see people just disappear from your locals just due to circumstances no one sees coming.
Yeah. It is some crazy stuff going on. It I do agree that yeah, prices are going to have to go up on certain things for us to basically be able to move forward. Especially if you talking about if the community really wants to make this a career thing and make a living
Well,
doing it.
I mean, people have had the opportunity to do so, and I think that's what makes fighting games special, but also I will say probably the hardest genre to get into because you have only yourself to rely on as far as like learning skills and everything. You do, I mean, you will have your friends and other teammates you might have on a team to like train with, but when it comes down to the actual match, this isn't
Yeah.
like Call of Duty, Valorant. It's just you and your opponent. You decide the outcome, and literally it. And some people can sit there and say, "Well, I could have done X in this situation," but it's like you have to understand. Yeah, you can say that all you want to. You were not sitting in that chair. Like we'll just use Tekken 8 as an example. It's it's a Steve versus a Jin. Man, you can throw out one button and get punished, lose half your life. That's just because Tekken 8 is a very aggressive game right now. We go play Tekken 7. Man, it's people that play super defensive in that game that win it more. But it's just like I said, it just boils down to you. And if, and people have made a career out of this. Daigo is like the biggest example I can always say. Sonic Fox is the second biggest example because that man tore up the NRS scene and hell when Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was going on for quite some time. He was tearing it up, but he was also a really good Skullgirls player. So he had the excuse me experience already in versus fighters. I mean, he even tore up the scene in Dragon Ball Fighters because him and was it God, what was his name? The Japanese player. What was his
Mm,
name? I cannot remember. Him and Sonic Fox had a big rivalry going on for like that lasted for like 3 years. And I mean, hell, he dove into Soul Calibur. He was a hell of a player in there. Now he's tried his hand at Tekken and Street Fighter and does all right, but those aren't his cup of teas.
hmm I guess you could look at it because I would say like somebody, MK Tom Brady said this, like the bodies in the FGC just aren't there for this to be really a career path. At least for maybe like the top 1% is fine, but for the rest of us, because like what a fighting game sells in 10 years, a regular game sells it in one day.
That may vary. I'm just saying because something could be free to play and it does really extraordinarily well. Because look at the tournaments Fortnite has had.
Yeah. 'Cause I was looking more so
It,
like I'm like, okay, because what is Call of Duty 6? How much did it sell like day one?
2 million, I think. Yeah, let me look that up real fast because that is a great question.
Because I was looking at that
Because
compared to Street Fighter 6. It took them what about almost a year to get to 2 million.
I think less than that, actually. Let's see. Black Ops 6. Yeah, they're not giving me the numbers.
But you
Come
but you,
on, give me the numbers.
but you know what I mean when I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Like WoW, like because then in this, cause when WoW has an expansion, it sells within the multi millions back in the day.
Back in the day, let's see. Street Fighter 6 sales. It's 3 million copies.
Mhm.
Uh, doubled its sales. Let's see. Street Fighter 6 more than double the copies of Street Fighter 5 in its first year. Already passed one third of lifetime sales of Street Fighter 5. So it accumulated more sales like in
Like,
that first half of the year.
oh yeah, because they basically they corrected all the problems they had from Street Fighter 5.
Pretty much, you could say Street Fighter 6 is literally Street Fighter 5.5, but we're not going to do that. I don't want to relive those terrible memories of Street Fighter 5.
Mhm. Oh, I had the question right in my head too.
It sold over 4 million copies by now. Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter 6.
They said how many copies?
4 million copies going on strong right now.
That's they keep growing.
That's as of
Is that
November 29th
do you feel that's
of
more
last year.
do you feel that that sales price is basically because of the modern controls and all the little things you can do outside of just going to rank or going to casual?
I think it's just because of the way the presentation of the game is. It's a complete package. It's not like what 5 was last year, or what 5 was, because 5, it's like, it might as well have been a beta. It's like, oh, here's 16 characters. You can go play online. That's about it. Street Fighter 6, you have World Tour, which is your story mode. You have arcade mode. You have the Battle Hub, which is one of the biggest, if not best features, because you literally throw your little custom character in there, go line up on arcade machine, and play people. Like literally, the lobbies are always full no matter what. If I play on Xbox all the time, more
Ava-
than PC for
Avatar
right now.
battles.
Yeah, the avatar battles are always going on. As goofy as they are, and I mean, and on the slight smallest problem I have with Street Fighter 6, and that's like you having to unlock the second costume and the colors, and it's a pain in the world to do that. So they have it slightly where it's incentivized. They want you to spend the money, but
Yeah.
it's not hard to grind out the money real fast, and then like you throw all the trade things to increase your affinity with your master, basically.
Yeah, because you can
But
do
it's
it because you have to max them out to get the costumes when they're the masters, don't you?
yep, and once you do, you get all of the colors. It's for the costume one. You got to use like drive tickets or whatever.
Mm. And speaking of those drive tickets, me personally, I actually don't mind it because I think at one point in time I had probably 10,000 drive tickets saved because
Damn, I think I had. Go ahead.
I just wasn't using them for anything.
I had, I think, about 20,000. I just use it to buy stages.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's pretty much all I used it for. The buy stages, and if I pick up a new character, if I want to get a purple or a pink or something like that, those are my colors. I use it to buy those specific colors. But when do you feel like we're gonna get a costume 3? Well, excuse me, a costume 4, I should say.
Probably later. As soon as season one is done. No, season two. I'm sorry. As soon as season two is done, we're gonna get it. As soon as like Ellie drops, or Elisa, excuse me. God, I say Ellie. Ignore me. She once she drops, we'll probably get an announcement later in the month or an announcement at the Capcom World Tour because we're close to that. That's what happened in March.
Do you think we're gonna actually get a reveal of the next set of DLC characters?
Yeah, and I think I think we'll get all silhouettes like they did for season two. So we can be excited. Street Fighter Five. The one thing I did kind of like about that era with the DLC is like, here's a silhouette. Who's it going to be? Ooh. Sometimes just go ahead and tell me. And if
Mm,
it's some from like some random game we don't remember, barely remember, like Akira from Rival Schools, hell, that was a fun drop.
yeah, even though I think a lot of people were more so upset with this one because of the fact that we're getting two DLC, we're getting two guest characters instead of Street Fighter characters. And we got, and one of the Street Fighter characters was a character a lot of people kind of wanted and didn't want at the same time, which is Bison.
Well, yeah, I mean, he being supposedly dead, and he's not. You know, but I mean, it's kind of whatever. It's almost hard not to have Bison, and it's like same with Heihachi. Like, it's almost hard to let them go, considering how they're a cornerstone
Yeah.
as a character and a pillar of the story.
But it's kind of like one of those points where it's like, well, why would you write him into being dead? Because Heihachi was the one that was the most egregious on his return.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, he was saved by bunks. I was like, there he is, like whatever. And then he comes back with this power up mode. I was like, okay, never mind. I'll take back what I said. I was like, with Geese right now, technically he's dead in King of Fighters. In King of Fighters 14, he showed up, but he was like a zombie.
But he's back
I
in
think it was.
15,
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's back in 15. Okay. Because
which
in
is
14, I remember the zombie costume.
crazy. Like, don't like, dude, they just care that you don't have to kill off a bad guy because
Listen,
you
they have to die sometimes.
know these characters can be immortal. They don't have to get older. They can stay the same age forever.
They can always do like they did with Injustice 2. The Joker came back as just a thought or a dream that Harley Quinn had.
Because they did, because I think what's the one of the guys that's over Street Fighter 6 now, the two that's normally in the reveal
Um,
videos. I can't remember, but one of them said, what's his name?
Taka Nakayama.
Mm-hmm.
Takai Nakayama. I think that's how you pronounce this gentleman's name.
Yeah,
Because he's pulling like an Oda now, where he's just always tweeting Street Fighter stuff.
yeah, because he says, what's the villain from 5?
Akali.
Yeah, Nakali, that he's technically still alive,
Well, he only wakes up every X amount of years.
and that
It's
he's supposed to be like Psycho Power, the Setsuno Hado, and Soul Power. All that is all the same thing, just
well,
different
yeah. So
versions.
yeah, that was really weird reading that, saying the Setsu Hado was supposed to be Psycho Power. Soul Power, I knew was Psycho Power because I mean Rose technically is the good version of Bison Soul.
Mm. It's one of those things I think they kind of write, they doing the Mortal Kombat where they kind of write themselves into corners, and
Yeah,
they keep doing, they're gonna end up like Mortal Kombat, constantly having to reboot the universes.
Street Fighter hasn't had to do that, thankfully yet.
So now, but I am hoping that we're gonna get Sagat in this next one. That we're gonna get at least 5 DLC characters this time around instead of 4, because they're spaced out way too far.
Yeah, and it's a bit bothersome because it does irk a lot of us that have been playing these games for quite some time because now it's like every other month it's just it's custom character costumes and a little battle pass, which I mean that's fine, and people have been buying them. and I'm not gonna knock anybody for buying them. Like I don't knock people for buying stuff in Fortnite. As long as you're responsible with your money. There was a kid I worked with. That dude was playing Apex all the time. Dude was buying the skins like it was hotcakes. That was a problem. I mean, those are expensive skins. Some of those are getting $70.
Oh no.
But that's here nor there.
Yeah,
There
but
was also,
I'll go ahead.
oh no, I was just saying, yeah, he and also dipping into Dragon Ball games, gotcha games.
I only play one, and I've completely paid it free to play the entire time I've played it.
Which one was that?
What's the name? Genshin Impact.
I played Mega Man X Dive till it died, free to play.
But when I look at the scene now, it feels like the scene's kind of getting split down the middle,
Yeah, it's really hard to
especially
say.
everything that's going on with what's I guess they're called what the alternate FGC.
Yeah, that's let's see, that's James. James was the guy that ran the On the Blast show. I guess you could throw technical in there. Let's see.
I was talking more about the what's in the Tenryo.
Didn't Tenrio in do an interview with uh, NYC Furby?
Mm-hmm.
I guess you call them that. It's really hard for me to
Yeah,
say because
because I believe I listened to the one where it was them, and I believe Mike Hollow had joined in on it. The basically is kind of pushed back on him a bit.
yeah, there was a couple of people I remember. One like after you and I got done with one episode, we talking about infiltration. Oh crap! I got to upload that episode. Didn't hear that. Anyways, and they were talking about infiltration and all this and that, and Arturo needs to fix that financial situation with Dominion or
Mm-hmm.
anything where he really speaks out, considering what we've seen. But I mean, they make valid points. I mean, well, just using infiltration as an example. I mean, that whole situation happened in another country, and looking over who all had access to the information, it's just literally his ex-wife just trying to ruin his life. And I mean, she was successful. That
Yeah.
man's just trying just to play a game. And like it's, I mean, he served out his ban for the Capcom Pro Tour. No one said, and he gets a lifetime ban. No one says why. Gives him an explanation, and it's ridiculous. So I don't know what to say from the Capcom Pro Tour folks. They they should really give him a reason or apologize.
Because I remember going into one TO talks with Calm Warrior and them talking about it a bit, and like and even some other players, like there's gonna at some point in time there's gonna have to be some regulations, rules that bind everything put in place, and people are just gonna have to abide by it. It's like people they're trying to be esports and at the same time keep it grassroots.
I'm
And
probably going to be in the. Go ahead.
oh, and I don't know how well that's gonna mix with each other.
Well, if people want the money, they're going to have to let it go that route. Like, and I'm only using Capcom Pro Tour as an example because they built it up to that. Because Uma won the $1 million now, and it took them the Street Fighter 4 to really build up that amount of money. Now you have the esports World Cup, but that's sponsored by
Saudi Arabia.
several things in Saudi Arabia. Sorry, I was trying to say it, but tongue was catching for whatever reason. But
But
I mean, that's over there. That's several $1 million. They can do that.
but
I always
I didn't actually understand why people had a problem with it because they had already had I think right after the Capcom Cup, they had another tournament over there in Saudi Arabia. I think it was like a for 400,000 was the grand prize.
Yeah, this is Gamers 8. Then it switched over to the U Sports World Cup. It's because of it being Saudi Arabia, because of the controversy of how the governments ran, the religion. Not to dive too deep into that. That's mainly why, because you had people like Sonic Fox. They don't feel safe being over there, and then people were giving comments. And it was like, just be normal. I'm like, see, you're normal and they're normal don't mix. There's a big problem there. So, not going any further into that because that's not what
Yeah.
this episode is about. But as far as like building the money up, it has to be done over a period of time. That no matter trying to jump into it immediately, and we'll use the Overwatch League as a big example because you had like Moist Critical, I think Ludwig, and a few other people that would put in teams. You had to have several $1 million just to buy a slot. And I think the Call of Duty League was another big one. You had to like have the bare minimum was $10 million to buy into the league. The bare minimum for Overwatch League was 2 million. I'm like you. I'm like y'all are idiots. And
Yeah.
then another big problem was just for that they got rid of their it was their amateur league, which they that people would go up into the pros.
I'll be honest, that's something I've been thinking about. Like, why don't we have that? Like, why doesn't the FGC have like a G League?
We do. It's called Don't Drown in Pools.
No, I'm talking about an actual G League where, hey, if you really want to do this professionally, okay, here's where you start. You get your tryout, you get to see where your skill level is. Okay, we're gonna pick this person, these person, and this person. Okay, now you're gonna play down here, and we're gonna develop this talent down here, so eventually they can come up to the higher level instead of just being like, well, you better get it out the mud.
It the MLG when that was still around, it sort of had that because Justin Wong played in that for a bit. I remember watching. I tried a bit myself, but I was more Call of Duty back then, and along with like Halo back in the day too. It just it'll work if it's established, but the way the scene is now, because every tournament's just open bracket, and I mean, well, using Capcom Pro Tour, I guess we'll say as a standard, but they've changed the way you get in basically because there are more online qualifiers and offline qualifiers, and just because they put in the work to make sure Street Fighter 6 can play online, even if you're playing somebody in God, what's that one town in Alaska? Anchorage, Alaska, and you find somebody in Europe for it to work properly. Pretty much, that's what they've done, and I think that's the main reason they do more online qualifiers.
Yeah,
Plus, it's free entry for those as
yeah,
far as the online qualifiers go.
yeah.
So I mean, they're go ahead
I say yeah, it's giving a chance for like smaller regions to actually get noticed and recognized.
because they've got a world warrior thing offline for all the talents of the world. Because there are some people I'm seeing from like what are some of the bottom countries in South America? I'm sorry if I don't know some of them. You're seeing some people in some other countries in like the middle of Africa you've never heard of. They're like really talented. And then there are sections like South America, excuse me, South America's the big SNK player set of the world, basically. Because I swear, if you go on Fightcade and someone has either a Mexico flag or one of the countries from South America, you're about to get your ass whooped in whatever King of Fighters or SNK game it is. I'm not
Mm,
kidding.
yeah, Mexico pretty much kept King of Fighters alive when it was basically drowning. Like it's
We're on
huge. It's huge down there.
Central America, South America. It is just like Dragon Ball.
I,
But I mean, go ahead.
I about to segue over to something else, but you can go ahead and finish your statement.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I know people don't like the esports aspect, but in order for it to be there, it has to be there. The corporations built it up, so they set the rules. We don't. If it's something we built, we set the rules. So it's like, whose rule do you abide by? It's whoever create whatever event you're going to. That's just how it is. I remember, what was it, E League? Oh my god, it was one of the most poorly ran events I ever saw. Got so many horror stories from the amateur league for Street Fighter Six. Oof.
Well, you
Heck, I
got.
think I even get. Go ahead.
I said, but you have to catch me up on the Evo price controversy because I didn't. I assumed Evo prices were what about $100 for entry and $10 per game, unless you did early registration. Or are they talking about the fact that they're separating the final day tickets?
Final day tickets is also a problem. That that is definitely one because no one's expecting to have to fork out some extra hundred something dollars just to get into the stadium. Because my friends, a couple of friends I know from Florida, they went up there. Their hotel room had mold. That was a problem, and these are the pricey hotels. You're like right at the venue, and it's just really hard to say. But I mean, when you compare before they did the venue change, it was like $100 to get in there and all that. No big deal. But after that, it's like, let me look this up because this is
I know they said that was the problem though. That's why they went back to the tickets being separate from your actual entry fee because everybody was expecting, okay, well, I bought the 3-day pass. I'm supposed to get entry into the main arena once the finals and stuff start. To the
yeah. A
point,
lot
I
of
think
people don't.
I think to the point last year where the fire marshal came in there and like, now you gotta
Yep.
get some of these guys out of here.
Yeah, it was just too expensive. And let me check here real fast. Let me check the Eva prices. Because unless if there's a new event this year, it's Evo France, which
Yep.
is October, and then Japan is in May. We want and Evo Singapore, but that's to be announced.
So that's what
Uh,
four, no, five Evo events. Evo France,
yeah,
Evo United States, Japan. No, it's four. That's Singapore. That's four Evos. I didn't even really think about that at the time. Like, does that really does that diminish the Evo win though? If it's like you got so many of them now.
no, I don't think it takes it away. Being Evo USA is still the like prime one everybody comes to, but it brings Evo to other areas that they don't normally have them at. Which, as long as they don't branch out and like, oh, there's 25 Evos, 50 Evos, they kind of keep it limited. It'll be fine.
Mhm. And it's kind of crazy when I really was listening to TO talks and they brought something up, and I'm like, I didn't even think about it at the time. I'm like, how many major tournaments are there really out there? And I'm like, it's CEO, this Evo,
Bro-
Combo
Frosty
Breaker,
Fasting,
Frosty Faustings, and the one in Texas, with Texas Showdown.
yes,
So I'm like, man, there's only five major tournaments out there now. When there used to
yeah,
be like a lot of them.
they it's really, really weird right now
Yep.
because I mean, just we'll use I think CEO because there's CEO Otaku as well. Alex Bailey was pretty upfront about some of the costs, some of those tournaments. It's not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Orlando, that was and just the internet. Because oh god, which
Oh, I already know Evo this year is not Evo this year. Excuse me, CEO this year is going to be crazy high. Because when I
it's
checked those hotels out, Whew.
Yeah, Orlando's pricey because it's Orlando. Daytona wasn't that bad. I mean, as long as you're splitting the cost with people, it's not that bad. But
And the fact that you can't even get a king, like if you just you and one other person, like you're married to your girlfriend, you can't even get like a one bedroom hotel room. You have to get the two queens.
see,
I
that's when you just get the hotel, the Motel 8 down the road.
and I
It's
think when
not
I
that far.
and I think when I looked it up, I think that resort, I think it was probably around high mid 7 to 800. If you stayed
Oof.
there like if you stayed there from you got there Thursday and you leaving out Monday. And I'm just like, man, that's a lot of money. Plus, you gotta pay your fees to get in, and if you want to buy something there, I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's almost going to a convention nowadays.
yeah,
It's pretty pricey, and I mean, I'm not trying to knock them for going up, but it also does hurt
N-
a lot of the people that want to go to these events, so they're kind of stuck doing online qualifiers.
and that's why I think the online qualifier actually is a good thing because it actually gives people a chance to compete and stuff, and
And
maybe win an online
it's free.
qualifier.
It's free too. You can't be mad. It's free. Now the
Mm,
online qualifiers, along with online tournaments, they take forever. So I've never really played many
Well,
online tournaments.
that happens when you're in person tournaments. Because I've
Yeah.
had I've had that experience where you're just sitting there waiting for the pools to start, waiting for people to go. And for some reason, I'm gonna just say this right now: if you're in pools and they say, "Hey, we're calling pools," you check in. Just because you check in does not mean that you are allowed to just walk off somewhere and then be like, "I'll be back." And now you're holding up the whole bracket over here because you're just over there goofing off somewhere, and we're sitting right here calling your name, trying to get the next match going. Because I've had that happen at Dream. That happened at Dream Hack last year, excuse me.
Well, don't forget, you and I were at CEO 2023. I didn't get in there because I could not get a Brooks converter to save my life, and I remember some people buying those. Some people were offering like $200 just to buy a converter to compete. But I sat around my pool just to see who was playing and all that. Some of those pools are delayed for an hour. Now, for those that don't know, people do enter in other games. The most notorious man for doing this was Chris G. Love watching him play. But dear God, when that man enters every game, he does hold up some tournaments. It's what that just comes and
Top player privilege.
it's not even really top player privilege. It's like, bro, you're not here, you're getting cut. That's what some people they're in some of the signups. You should limit how many games people play. But the reason some of these games are being delayed at CEO 2023 is because of Dance Dance Revolution or DDR games, and I mean the wait was up to like an hour. I'm not kidding. So people are pissed.
No,
And now,
that's when you say nope, you're disqualified. We're moving on. You had 10 minutes. You had 20 minutes to get here, and you're not here in 20 minutes. Okay, we're moving on.
now I know this is not my story to tell, but I just found this very funny reading this. One of our other TOs is up at Frosty Fausting right now. Some of the head people were telling them because they were so ahead of the schedule to delay their pools by like 2 hours. What?
Is that because
Oh,
people are playing multiple games, or they're just the bracket is just moving so fast? They're
they
trying
were
to
just
hold it.
moving that fast. That was the insane part. I was like, what?
I'm like, okay, no, no. See, this is I was saying stuff got to be on the schedule, man. We because when I went to CEO, it's like okay, once I played my matches and stuff, or in between, like because I know I had Street Fighter and Guilty Gear, but they were at different times. But I was very aware of what time I needed to be at my pools. So I took that time. Hey, I'm gonna go over here, go see Artist Alley. I'm gonna go over here and check out some other stuff, and I'll come back. some people for some reason take that as a cue for I'll get there when I get there.
It's like, no, bro. It don't matter if you know who's playing running the bracket or not. You ain't there. You out.
Because
End of story.
it does affect play, especially if you're playing. And I've had this happen to me at CEO last year. While I'm playing in Street Fighter, and I basically I win my losers match. I'm ready to go into the next one, and the bracket runner says, "Okay, man, you got to give him a few minutes, man. He just had a hard match. He needs a few minutes to just kind of cool down." And that few minutes turned into 20, and I'm sitting there like I'm ready to go now. I'm like I want to kind of keep momentum I have going instead of just kind of cooling off.
Yeah, and I mean, you fail to show up. Hey, guess what? You show up your pools on time. You've already won a match for free because some goofballs decided to sleep in late. What do you, what are the odds? God knows how many times I've almost coming close out of pools just because people not showing up.
I about to say that happened to me at DreamHack this last year in Guilty Gear. I think my first opponent didn't show up, so he got DQ'd. So I moved on to the next one. I beat that one. I lost to the next one, and I was about two games, 2 rounds away from making it out of pools in Guilty Gear. But I just happened to run into an Axel.
Oh man, you shouldn't have asked me for some Excel matchups because I did play him for like 2 weeks. I think I got to like ninth floor with him. Just basic stuff.
And this was like this was at DreamHack, like because we literally would my pool for Guilty Gear. Me and my opponent were literally the last match. We were sitting over there at the stations by ourselves with just the bracket runner because it was moving that slow. Because people kept walking off places.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I say, dude, that was one of the frustrating things about some tournaments that people just for whatever reason just walk off after they check in and don't really understand like, hey, you need to be either close by or don't leave the station. Because
Pretty much.
if it was me, I'm telling you now, you got about 10 minutes to get to your station. If I'm calling you for 10 minutes and you don't show up, I'm DQing you and I'm moving on.
That's pretty much it. Because I mean, I try to be reasonable, but the limit is 10 minutes. I
Yeah.
think it's what we do for most of ours. You ain't showing up by. We ain't got time for this. There is no refund. Sorry, you paid. You didn't show up. You came up late. Don't know what to tell you. Sucks to suck, but that's life.
Yeah. And we kind of touch on that with Jabali and stuff too, because I know Jabali has probably been the one TO I know that has started posting a lot of stuff about extra cost on certain things. I remember, I think it was the CEO we went to when he posted people bringing in outside food and leaving trash in there, people breaking stuff, and he having to come out his pocket with like another, I think $1,300-$1,500 to fix something.
Yeah,
And I remember
yeah,
DreamHack that same year when we was at the up there at the Atlanta Congress Center, and we were on the we was on the top rung. We was up there by ourselves, and I remember the drink machine got broken, and one of the toilets in the bathroom got broken, where it was basically just constantly just flushing over and over again, leak and just overflowing. And I'm just sitting there like, oh man, come on, guys.
there was. I forget which final round this was. I think it was the one. Was it 19? I think it was. It was when they were over at the convention center, not at the Hilton. Man, I saw some PlayStation 4s sitting there. They had copies of Tekken 7 in them. They were gone. All of them.
Like
And
people took the systems or they took the game.
they took the game. The Tekken 7 discs were gone. Dude, people like Shin Blanca was pissed. And I mean, it just, I, and I don't blame him for stopping what he did, stopping from running tournaments. He ended it because he's got a kid and all that around that time. So him retiring, I don't blame him. I think Big E still does some stuff. I think those tournaments are still around.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it as far as like our area, our as far as like Georgia goes. There's no big scene or big tournament anymore, except for like what Max Mode is now.
Mm-hmm.
Just, just by the way, if anybody's going to Max Mode, be prepared for that tournament to be held up by Chris G because that man won last year every game almost except for like one, I think.
Yeah, I'm not. I ain't gonna say I'm debating on it. I'm trying to decide if I'm just gonna go for it and just get a hotel for the day and then come back. Uh, like go up there Friday if I gotta play, because I'm probably only gonna play Street Fighter and maybe Guilty Gear because I want to know because last time when they did it, Friday was like Sam Show, Street Fighter 5, and a couple of other games. But Street Fighter literally didn't start until Saturday. So I had got up there like a day early. So I could literally just could just chill till Saturday.
That's understandable.
Yeah, I just want to see the schedule because I it's probably just gonna be a 1 day thing for me.
I might go. I because I really just want to go to Japan this year. That's the only big trip I really want to do. Well, a weekend thing I don't mind, but concentrate is just the flight in Japan for a week, come back. So
Yeah,
I may just forgo tournaments except our local stuff,
yeah.
except because online I'll much as I dread playing Taken 8 online. Oh, the suffering.
Trust me, no. Go play MK1 online. You do not know suffering until you played that game online. When you when
No,
you
thank you.
when you've played at 160 ping.
No, thank you. I've suffered enough. I don't want to suffer any more than what I'm willing to take. Speaking of MK1, not to dive too far from topic of it, but did you play against Floyd in MK1?
No, I'm
Listen,
completely done with that game. I
fair.
That game pissed me off so much. Like I sold my PS5 copy of MK1. I still have it on my PC because I can't return it because it's too old. And yes,
Fair.
the game is better than what it was, but it's like too little, too late, bro. Because
Yeah.
the net code is still trash. Cause when I said, you know what, maybe I'm judging this game too hard. Maybe I just need to go back, replay the game. Maybe I'll see something different. And what I get, I'm getting 155, 165 ping. Like games are laggy is all out. And I'm just like, okay, I'm frustrated now. I played 3 matches, and out of the 3 matches, only one of them was decent. I don't know what they've done to the net code, but it makes no sense why you're playing in 160 ping. That's ridiculous.
Very understandable. No one wants to be in that.
But no, there's some people that actually like playing it, and I seen the Pink Floyd thing and the new stage, and it's like I'm just like, when are y'all actually gonna start working and fix the characters? Because
Like games like
Sub Zero is still like, 'cause he's still my main character if I do pick up the game and play it. Because every now and again I'll start practicing, and then in the course of practicing, I'll be like, nah, I don't want to play this. But they seem to. I'm not sure what direction they're trying to take the game to, because I can be honest with you, everyone hates the cameo system. People want to go back to just one on one, and I got a feeling that when MK2 or MK13 or whatever they call it comes out, it's going to be a one on one game. They might go back to the variation system.
I don't know. MKL,
Like,
MK 11 had an issue with that.
and, and for everybody out there that's saying, "Oh, MK1 is back," talk to me in about a month and let me know how back it is. Because when you watch Maximilian play that game when Conan came out, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, Mr. Joshua.
I did. It reminded me of Tusk,
I mean,
but
no, did you just notice how he was reacting to just playing the game? He's like, man, this game is fun. Oh, Conan, he's kind of cool. He's fun. And then you remember you have
yeah,
to play
it's
it online.
yeah, yeah. That's the problem right there. He ran into.
Like you can look at his face, like he was not having fun that whole time. And I'm like, people looking at the Twitch numbers, and I'm like, the MK Twitch numbers are inflated. When Max is on there, Max is gonna bring in about 7,000. I've seen Max bring in about 13,000 people watching him when he streams. The second he stopped streaming MK1, those numbers drop back to where they normally are.
Yeah,
If there's not a tournament going on, MK1's not getting that kind of viewership, bro.
I- it's understandable. It's only like one of the big names of content creation.
I,
Just
I, I would think,
show interest in the game.
yeah. And I'm like, if because I like Max. Like, I don't know him. I never got a chance to meet him. I wish I could have met him because he seems like a really cool person. But I like Max. I consider him to be like a casual pro.
He pretty much is. He's done his due diligence. It's the ultimate goal of him is like, all right, this was really cool to me. Let me make content about it. Here, check this out. That's pretty much how a lot of people got in some fighting games. I mean, one of the what year was it? 2017, I think it was. Someone won with all Femme Fatales in Ultimate Marvel 3.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they loved watching Maximilian's videos, inspired them to be the best at it and play. That's really it.
Because I remember Max, the first time I ran across Max was doing when he was doing Assist Me. Because he was the only one at that time in the FGC, I think, was doing videos like that.
Yeah, he made a unique video style. I still don't see many people do that. Then Max put his heart and soul into that. It reminds me, I need to work on a skit because I want to do something kind of like that, but with something different, not in real life. But I don't need anybody stealing my ideas. Anyways, uh, yeah, I mean he decided he because he loved movies and all that. That's why he did it that way. I mean, hell, that's why his daughter's name is Ripley because he loves Alien.
I'm like, so what do you think they need to do to fix Mortal Kombat?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The state of affairs that game is in right now, I they're gonna have to do what Dynasty Warriors did with Dynasty Warriors Origins. Great reboot to the series, but I mean, it's that's a story of the romance of the kingdom, so it never really needs that much rebooting.
I don't know, cause
But
this would be what if they did it again. That'd be what the third or fourth reboot.
pretty much. But I mean, the way they set it up, that's the way it has been. Chaos Reigns is like, oh, we dove into the multiverse now. Um,
I
okay,
think that's the
no,
biggest thing because this Chaos Reigns is what pretty much is not really selling. And even though
yeah,
people are sitting there here talking about, oh, it just hit what 5 million, but I'm
I
like, okay,
guess.
before Chaos Reign came out, it was already over 4 million. And it's go and like now I think on PlayStation you can get it for about maybe $20, 20, $30 because that game is constantly on sale.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
And I know people are probably going to pick it up because they look at it, oh, it's an Evo game.
Yeah, it being an Evo kind of surprised me. I'll
I
be
think
honest.
I think it surprised a lot of people because the problems that game has had, but it says it's supposed to be supposedly part of the big three. But I'm just
Well,
like, who? I'm like, I never really consider Mortal Kombat part of the big three because like I don't really see too many people really, even when it's on the main stage, I don't really see too many people watching it.
I mean, as far as like historically, it definitely is one of the big three for fighting games. But uh, right now, it's really missed. It really has. It's not till pretty much. I mean, as far as like it's let's see, as far as the big ones are, it's still Tekken, Street Fighter, Grand Blues up there. It's really hard for me to say. It's as far as like big names you can suggest to a casual. It's like Street Fighter and Tekken right off the bat. I guess I don't know. God, I hate feeling like a loss for words here because I mean, just the quality of the game has kind of just gone down.
Mm, yeah, I can't wait for them to put modern mode in Mortal Kombat.
Let me know
'Cause
when that happens, and then if it happens again.
because it seems like every fighting game starting to put that in now. Even City of Wolves has like modern mode. It's
Yeah,
Tekken somewhat has it. I don't particularly like the way Tekken implements where you can kind of switch it on and off when you're online.
yeah, that's the only weird thing. I'm like, you should be locked into it if you're gonna beat it. That's just me. Because you in Street Fighter, you have to do that. And in Ultimate Marvel 3 technically had that. It had normal mode or simple mode. And you chose which one, you were locked in.
Yeah, that's why, cause I've ran into people when I'm playing them and I'll see it pop up. I'm
Like
like,
bro
man,
switching between like, all right, dude, what you gonna play with?
'cause it kind of throws you off because like cause once you start playing somebody, you get used to a certain way. Then all of a sudden they switch. They'll be like, as soon as they get a hit, they'll switch to the simple controls and Tekken, and all of a sudden you do this combo on you, and then they'll turn it off again. I'm like, come on, man, like this is not fair.
I'm
But
not turning it on and off, but you're turning it on and off. Come on.
because Tekken's got this own problem with the heat system and them trying to figure out what they want to do with that whole shebang. Because I know some people say, well, if you put the heat system in Tekken 6, it would actually work because you had a good backdash and an exceptional sidestepping in that game, that version of the game.
God, I wish they would go back to like what Tekken 9 was. Someone said Tekken 9 was a fluke, and I'm like, hey, you might be right.
I mean, Tekken 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Mortal Kombat. I'm sorry. I slipped my mind.
No, I was talking about
Sorry.
Tekken. I was talking about Tekken. 'Cause I know some people said if you put the heat system in Tekken 6, that it would actually work a lot better because of the sidestepping and the backdashing you had.
I'll take your word for it because I didn't really get into Tekken until like Tekken Tag 2.
Yeah, I think that might be. I think if they actually reverted the backdashing thing and kind of made sidestepping a little better, I think that would probably solve a lot of people's problems with the heat system.
Sidestepping's fine. You just got to know which way to sidestep. But that's just the process of learning. The backdash problem was because of the way Tekken 7 was. Man, you just, if someone knew how to do the Korean backdash perfectly, they're just going to wait till you throw out a move. Oh, time to punish.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I
just how
kind.
bad it was.
Yeah, that's why I kind of feel like Tekken players kind of brought it upon themselves.
I'm fine with the heat system. That stuff burns out pretty fast for most characters.
Yeah, they like we're gonna make sure you can't go anywhere. We're gonna gimp your backdash, and when you get mixed, we're gonna make sure it's plus and death.
I mean, the backdash, you can still do a Korean backdash. It's not that bad,
Yeah, you just don't get the same amount of distance used to get in 7.
which is fine. It's
Mm,
just fine to me, perspective wise, for me taking a Tekken seriously. So I may be just in a minority on that.
Mm. Cause I don't know, cause I don't remember when's the last time you played Street Fighter.
A couple of weeks ago, I
Mm,
was just messing around with JP.
what's your impressions of the kind of semi gimped reverted JP?
He's fine. He's not happy with the ed changes, but after watching, which it was the World Warriors Japan Grand Finals, it was two eds. So I'm like, you know what? Just just don't do the back sway, and I'll be fine. That's it.
Like if you had to rate, would you think Street Fighter's probably in the best position out of all the fighting games right now?
As far as everything is concerned, I think so. I mean, DLC is not expensive, and if you don't want the character, you can try out the character with the rental tokens. It's probably one of the best things they've done in any fighting game. I wish Tekken 8 had that, but it doesn't. So
Yeah, you have to pay for the pass, or you have to pay individual. Because what is a Tekken character? Is what about? Is what $8? 6?
$6.99 or $7.99. I'd have to double check.
Well, I can't really say because Capcom's kind of the same way with the fight tokens because you almost have to spend $10 to get one character.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Which is crazy because I actually have to buy my twice because I gotta have it on my
You
PS5 for tournament play with Sir Retro and everybody, and my PC.
look into the situation I had last when I was dealing with Street Fighter 5.
But it'll be worth it. I don't mind paying that for my.
Understandable.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you. She surprised me the most. Cause I'm like, because KOF, I said if they do KOF, Terry was a given to me, like, cause he's like the poster child for KOF. But I said if they did
Y'all,
Terry, I said if they do Terry, most likely they're gonna do Geese. I wouldn't have thought mine, cause Geese has already been in Tekken 7. So I was like, okay, they'll probably bring him into Street Fighter 6, him and Terry. But I just I don't know. I just wasn't expecting her.
well, I mean, mine's popular among SNK fans, so we'll see. And she looks really good. It's so weird her fireball though. If you just throw it out, someone could hit with a normal, but if you charge it up, they can't knock it away with a normal.
Like that's what like her setup game is gonna be crazy. Like I think she's gonna be a crazy mix up character.
Oh, she is. In fact, she can hit you with the install and have that, and it works on all her. That's what threw me for a loop. I was like, what? I was like, I ain't.
Well, we'll have to wait to see what Japan says about her.
Oh, the whole world's gonna be playing her at so when she drops.
Oh, I already know because I'm gonna be playing her day one. Cause I like
Oh,
I don't know. Cause it's just crazy that we're having such a renaissance. I would say in the fighting games section.
pretty much. I mean,
Now
there's
we need Soul Calibur to come back.
the guy that was really behind that. I doubt we'll see again. He moved on to another company,
Mm,
but
Cause cause we did get some news about Ninja Gaiden this week. So I'm like, okay, if they did a Ninja Gaiden 4 and they've done a Ninja Gaiden 2 Black Edition, they might be working on a DOA 7 because Ayane and Kasumi are in the game and they have and Momiji and they have very very nice updated character models to kind of show you like okay, they're probably going to use the Unreal Engine 5 and 7.
most likely.
But it's like I feel like we're going to get an announcement probably after a little bit after Ninja Gaiden 4 drops this year. If not, we might get it at the Game Awards.
Mm, poss-
Cause I'm like, they got to take one more stab at it. Like, hey man, take one more stab at DOA. If it doesn't work, then you can let the franchise just let it go. But at least try one more time to see if we can get it to work.
they should really try. I just don't know. The only thing dead or alive they have coming out is that
Venus Vacation.
yeah, and I don't know, man. That I hate to see it die, but it just may die.
And I get it, man. The extreme beach volleyball stuff, it does sell. It sells very well. A lot of people just like playing volleyball with the girls and just doing the little mini games with them and stuff like that. So I get it. I'm just hoping up. I'm just got my fingers crossed. I'm on a wing and a prayer. I just
Living
feel
on a
I just
prayer.
cause they had already been saying that they were going to reboot it. That they had plans to reboot uh DOA and just start all over again from the beginning, which to me would make a lot of sense. Just say, okay, we're gonna start over again. We're gonna take what works and what doesn't work, we're gonna get rid of it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And the fact that they actually are teaming up with Platinum for Ninja Gaiden kind of makes me interested in whether or not Platinum's gonna come in and try to help them develop the next DOA.
I would like them to. I really want to hope they would, but we will just have to see. Like,
Yeah,
because
unfortunately.
I mean, DOA is well, let me rephrase that. Platinum Games and Team Ninja teaming up to do um Ninja Gaiden 4 is great, but here's hoping it goes well.
Trust me, I've already, okay, Jeshua's already seen, I've already pre ordered my physical copy of Ninja Gaiden Black 2. I bought the digital copy on Steam, so I've already got it. I'm already probably going to stream it either tonight later on or maybe tomorrow morning. And I can tell you right now, if they come out with a Ninja Gaiden for collector's edition, I'm going to buy that one, and I'm going to buy a just a standard physical copy for me to play.
Thought you were saving up money, sir.
I am. That's what a credit card. That's what credit cards are for.
Here, let me show you this figure that they're coming out with in next year. Here, just to tempt that. It's a Ninja Gaiden figure.
Is it that one that they had in the reveal trailer?
Uh, I think so.
Oh, the Ayane one. And they got a jury one coming out for $100. Might have to get that one. God, I wonder if that's the same one. No, I'm not gonna because I've already spent $100 on both of those games. Stop tempting me, sir.
I'm not tempting you. I want to play devil's advocate.
Uh, I guess we probably could talk about that too before we just end it.
What's that?
The whole Ayane controversy.
Ione controversy.
What they sent supposedly they censored her in Ninja Gaiden Black 2 where they reduced her bust size.
They did. I actually looked into that. Now that you mentioned that, I really did. I mean, if you look at the older one, I mean, her 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 breasts defy gravity in the old game. They were bigger, but I mean, and I'm just looking at this from perspective of an artist per se, and this is not to add more as a realistic. It's just her how tall she is and her figure size. Them them not being like ballistic missiles that fire everywhere. It's all right. It's nothing crazy to me.
I think more people is kind of going at the fact that what's name I believe in Ninja Guy she's like 14, 14. No, she's 15 in Ninja Guy 2.
I don't remember. You're asking the wrong person. It's been
No, I
forever
remember
since
because
I played.
I had to think about it. Yeah, she's 14 in Ninja Gaiden, and Ninja Gaiden 2 takes place a year later, so she's 15. And that's what people are kind of like, okay, stop being a creep.
Yeah, it's like that sexy female. Just don't don't. That's the one thing I get so tired of being
Just,
being online is just watching people like just overreact. Oh, this and I'm so tired. It's just I'm not gonna mention it, but it's just oh one guy I know that's an artist. He does a ton of I don't know him personally, but I follow him. There's a ton of like free assets for VTubers, and he uses what's her name from My Dress Up Darling. And they're like, she's 15. Oh, she's not real, dude. Shut the hell up. It's not a real person. Now, if it was like if this was controversial like Shade Man or Shad Man, whatever the idiot's name is, doing inappropriate images of someone's youngling, because I know this is going on YouTube, that is a huge difference to me. And if they're one of those artists that does images of younglings, they need to go take a dip in the ocean and just keep diving down, never come back up. Trying to be really nice about this. This is very in, but there's differences. That's just maybe his favorite female character from anime. I don't care. It's not hurting anybody. Hell, I someone got into me in a stupid art. I don't ever really engage in the arguments on Twitter or X, whichever you prefer. But they're like, "Oh, his assets hurt people that were sexually assaulted." I'm like, "What? I'm sorry. What now?"
those two things are
It's like
mutually related.
I'm like these digital assets he makes. Some of them are a little suspicious because of what they are, but they're jokes in the end of the day. And some people don't understand the references, and I get that. I'm 35. These kids discovering Skibbity Bop Toilet, which was a meme to us back in God early 2010s, and the fact that I'm seeing toys for that now bothers me immensely. But that's here nor there. It's just a generational thing, I guess, to a point. But it's like you have to understand reality from fiction, folks. Some of y'all have been online for far too long and need to just go relax.
'Cause I know people saying they didn't like it because they feel like they were censoring the original artist's view of the character.
That is understandable. I really do understand that. But at the end of the day, when these remakes happen, they're going to do that. I don't see anybody complaining about the remake in 4 and the weird BDSM outfits given to Leon and the RE4 remake. Don't hear the women complaining about that whatsoever. Hmm. Don't think I don't know, ladies. I know how you ladies operate.
I
Not
have
dumb.
I got that game and I have not even played it yet. I
I
got
just always go ahead.
oh no, I about to say I gotta finish. I gotta do Final Fantasy 7 and Rebirth because I got both of them.
I think you'll have fun with them. Yeah, when I just say this from a loving position of JRPGs, that's the direction I feel some of the more modern JRPGs should go. Those really big open areas, but don't do the Ubisoft approach. It's like, ah, here tower, climb tower, go to this area. If you're gonna really do it, do it. I think
With Tales
what was it?
of
Trials,
with Tales of
Hell,
Arise.
Sinfo. There's Rise and Symphonia, I think, that do it really well.
Where it's just an open world and you just running around and you're fighting enemies.
But we're in 2025. An item should not be just a shiny object I pick up off the ground. It should look like the object. Pick up a hammer, pick up a hammer, damn it.
Well, well, I'm not gonna get no, I'm not gonna give them that because they have no excuse for the amount of money they put into these budgets.
Yes, you're right. Some of these games, oh, it takes us 10 years to make this game. I was like, bro, there's a dude in his basement that makes a game maybe once a year, puts it out for $10, makes $1 million. What is y'all's, the budgets for games are so astronomically insane.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary.
Oh, and I know we want to save this for question perspective or not. The industry is kind of hoping for the article they had with uh
$100 per game?
yeah.
No. Listen, I'm a man that is. You and I have both been to this hobby for a long time. There's a point where, and this goes back. You can look these in old catalogs back in the day. The NES was like $600, $700. Original KI was like $70. The value of games being presented in the market goes up and down. I mean, hell, during the PlayStation 2 era, I remember games being like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. A lot of fun games are 20, $30. The $40 games are some of the best ones I ever played, even though they're kind of like one offs. But you didn't hear, I love them to death. I played them so much. Some discs broke. Hell, even up into the 360 area. 360 era, PlayStation 3. I remember I played Armored Core 4 so much, I went through like 4 discs. They were cracking in the middle. I was playing them that much. That's kind of bad now to think about that, but I I rebought them. I didn't care. That was just such a fun game to me. But it's when you, like I said earlier in the in this episode, $100 is what a lot of people will consider mentally a luxury item. When you start going past that, it's not worth it. You'll start losing your audience fast. This is why people love Steam so much. I mean, God knows how many games are on Steam that are just cheap shovelware. But I mean, you can see a streamer pay like, oh, what is it? A lot of big people were playing. It was TCG Card Shop Simulator. I think it's like, let me look this up real fast. I know it's cheap, but that's got like Unreal Engine assets in it and all that too.
Which is kind of crazy because they just boosted the games up to $70. And
T-
after taxing, you're paying probably about $75 for a game.
TCG Simulator is $12, $13, excuse me. You got games like Power World. It's like $25, and and that game is amazing for how cheap it is and how much stuff you have in there.
And I'm
Hell,
like,
let's see.
yeah, and it just feel more like if they lowered the budgets down and stopped trying
Yes.
to make these super uber realistic games. I'm like, you're not PS4, PS5, excuse me, Xbox. You're not gonna catch up to the PC. The second you make
Oh no,
something
they
that's on,
have.
the second they get something that's on par with the PC, guess what? Now the new graphic cards are out, and you're behind again.
I mean, they have. I mean, the graphics are there, but I'm like, I don't. I just like I'm not gonna have something that's gonna like sit there and like, oh, I need ray tracing on everything. I don't need ray
I'm like,
tracing
they're
on
struggling to get they're
everything.
struggling to get a 60 frames per second on the PlayStation.
It can do it, but it's like what's the point? It's like, folks, calm down. It's the art style that will carry a game for years. Like, what's an old one I can think of? Zone of the Enders.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just
Just
like, oh, it, consoles are getting to the point now where it's like you might as well just buy a PC.
You're right.
It's like what the PlayStation Pro is what $800 after you do everything, tax and everything. You're probably about almost probably $900 if you add the disk drive.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like
it's
that
stupid.
can get you a minimal spec PC.
I can go buy a Steam Deck, $400.
And I'm like, and I will freely admit I'm one of those people that I never had a PC until last year. And
Uh,
once I've gotten on it and I played it for a while, it's like, man, like all the freedom that I have on this thing, I'm playing games
and
at over 100 frames per second. Some of them almost hitting like 166 frames per second.
and it's nice to have that. And it's nice to have like the older stuff. Like I know you collect some older games. I wish I kept some. Well, I still have some Game Boy and some older stuff, but and God knows, I really hope the used game market crashes in the next couple of months. I saw a post where Game Guide, like the original, it was Game Boy Advance, like guide or the what do you call it, the pamphlets or whatever come with them, the rule books,
Hmm.
$40. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Trust me, I've seen that. Where I think Retro Raven they had Ninja Gaiden, the original one, for like the NES. The manual was like not it wasn't super expensive, but it still was like $12 for the
Was it
manual,
the game guide or the manual?
just the manual.
Uh, stop making
I'm
so
like, wait a
it's
minute, this manual costs almost as much as the game costs because the game was like $20.
oh, it hurts so
But
much.
it just uh if they weren't making such crappy games, this wouldn't be a problem. But the fact
Yep,
that they keep
that's
trying to interject all this other political stuff into the games instead of just worrying about, hey, just make a good game and you wouldn't have to
yeah,
worry about not having enough and all these layoffs, which after the game awards, all these people who talk about how they didn't have to lay people off, guess what? Right after the Christmas, they laid a whole bunch of people off in the gaming industry.
yeah, and and it's like, all right, hopefully they'll learn their lesson. I guess I don't know. Some people aren't. They're gonna just go nuts.
Yep.
I just pray and hope
And what was the EA?
that
Because didn't EA just report that they lost what 6 billion on Dragon Age?
yeah,
It just like people think about that. They lost $6 billion on this game, and the person who was the lead was he the lead director or the creative person on it?
yeah, they left.
Yep, just up and left.
They went to something else. I don't know what it was, but good luck to them, I guess.
If I was in the person in that studio, I would be pissed. So you don't drove our game into the ground, and then you just like, oh well, I'm out of here, guys. I'm like, okay, what about the rest of us? Because we just can't get up and leave. Yep, y'all figure it out.
Yes, about how it gets left with. But I mean, I don't really much uh, have much else to say. I guess unless you have any other more topics you want to talk about, my good sir.
Nah, that's pretty much it. I say you can let the people know where they can find you. I think you got a whole nother Twitch page now.
I haven't changed the Twitch page, but Twitch page and Twitter are under construction at the moment. I'm making new assets. I'm making a lot of stuff right now. Some of it's going to take me like over a month and a half to do because I'm learning a couple of new programs. God, I hate myself for that, but I'm so tired of Adobe. So that comes with its pros and cons. Thank goodness some assets I bought or I'm going to buy are also going to be used in DaVinci Resolve. So that'll save me some time and effort.
No.
But most folks, y'all can find me at most. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. The handle is all lowercase PHDJeshua. PHDJeshua.
Mhm.
I'm trying to post as much as I can on YouTube. So if you catch something, catch a job, throw a subscribe my way. If sometimes me and Chris are playing a couple of games together or not.
Yeah, he enjoys beating me up in Tekken.
No, no, I enjoyed more shooting you in a way out because I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting game, and that was what that's like a $20 game.
I bought it for like $2.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, it's like let's see. Okay, get Steam working here. Yes, $30.
and it's worth it, especially if you can get like two people, like another person to play it with you. Because I think you have to have or do the AI take over. You only play it single player.
I think the AI takes over. They did another game. It takes two. It's a
Yeah,
couple that turn into like some dolls, and they have to go around. Now, the next game comes out in March, Split Fiction, which is the main guy's the main guy that's the head of the studio. His two daughters are the named characters in the Split Fiction, which is going to look like it's going to be really fun.
yeah, we got the chance to check it out at the Game Awards last year.
Yep. One is a big sci-fi writer, the other is a big fantasy writer. It's very interesting.
It definitely was. It definitely caught my attention.
Yeah, because there's some levels in there. You're a hot dog on a grill. I was like, what? What insanity?
Yeah, we're doing a Rick and Morty episode. We're in the hot dog universe.
Something like that.
Well, thank you for coming on there today, Mr. Joshua.
It's no problem, Mr. Chris. Anytime.
Well, I hope y'all have a good night wherever y'all at, and I will talk to y'all guys later. Peace. I'm out.